and like, ah, you're too noisy. And like, I said, you don't have to be around me. Oh.
Friendship may actually go beyond just relating on
A superficial
basis.
There's the adage that says, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
There are some of us who are not very good at regular visit, but because they are friends,
you have to.
In order to maintain that friendship.
The emotional state of the parents is usually directly proportional to the emotional state of the children.
Hello viewers, welcome to our favorite family program, The Living Room, right here on Equa Television International. In the last few weeks, we've been talking about friendship, what friendship is, toxic relationships, what to avoid, how to be a good friend, and all that. So this week and in this episode, we decided to talk about relationships. I think it's something that bugs a lot of people. And I'm here with my auntie and our regular, Professor Mrs. Teresa Madu, and my name is Amaka Ucheke. So we'll be talking about relationships. So, auntie, we'll start again. When we say relationship, what do we mean?
I think the word relationship has had paradigm shifts over the decades that we know as parents and everything. When we were younger, our parents marveled at our audacity to meet people of the opposite sex in school and call them friends, and yet there was nothing to it. Our parents marveled at that because relationships as they I think, because the classes were mixtures of boys and girls. You studied together, you fought together, and you developed bonds together. And some of those relationships were not necessarily marital
Or romantic
in any way.
Okay. So because now, especially with young people, social media, everybody's talking about relationships, what is a relationship, what should we know. So I think from what you have raised, I think maybe let's talk about how as Christians we should relate with one another, including those of the opposite sex. How do we handle that? Because sometimes I find, as you said, parents like say, I don't want to, like for the girls, they say, we don't want to see any boy in this house. We don't want to see talking to any boy. Then suddenly out of the blues, you say, is nobody coming to marry you? And I don't know where you want to manufacture this somebody from the sky. So I think let's talk about just a relationship or how young people should relate with ourselves, brothers, sisters, opposite sex, no strings attached. How do we go about it?
You know, one of the things we had done over the past few weeks, we said, if you want a friend, show yourself as a friend. And there are natural things that bring people together. You're studying together, maybe you're working together, or you're serving together in some way or the other. Whether you like it or not, the proximity makes you relate with one another. And I guess that's how people get noticed. Maybe they look at this particular person who is serving wholeheartedly or simply has an attractive personality. But I would imagine that when we're looking at that, we're looking beyond the facade, the outward person, that we're actually relating with who this person and the kind of values they bring forward. And these things are pretty readable. When you find somebody who genuinely loves God and is serving, they are naturally an attractive person, whether it's a boy or a girl.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from you is that even relating with people of the opposite sex isn't a bad thing.
No, it's not.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing at all.
Okay, so it's something we should expect since we're not living in silos anymore.
No.
We're relating with people in school, in the workplace, and all that.
And I think it's even healthy that we encourage those kind of relationships that have no strings attached.
Yeah.
It frees people to be themselves. And if it frees people to be themselves, then we can really say, this person we're seeing, this is who they are, and that's all there is to. And we can maybe testify about them and say, this person does this, does that.
So for me, I think from what I've seen and what you're saying is that it helps us to get to know each other with no pressures. So everybody is themselves, nobody's pretending, nobody's trying to impress anybody. We're just ourselves.
I'm thinking back to my university days. And I think I had close on 5 to 6 of those relationships, and they were just good, healthy relationships, no strings attached, classmates that we work very closely with. I learned from them and they learned from me. It's very healthy.
And I think it's also a safe place to be able to understand the other opposite sex, you know. No strings attached, but you understand boys better. Or the boys understand girls better.
Better, yes.
And you ask them questions and you watch with no threats.
So, well, on TV. But you know, those kind of very close friends would recruit us to help them assess whether somebody they liked would make a potential person or not.
Okay, I used to have a colleague when he wanted to get married to somebody, and so his friend now helped him organize how he will go about it, what he will say to the girl, and all that. And then he went. The girl said no, so he came back disappointed. She's the one who consoled him, and then he told me that one day he just, like his eyes just scales just. So he now changed focus.
I like the genuineness. You see, she took him up on the offer and actually helped.
Yeah.
And so you can see the good intentions of that person when the scales fell off.
Yeah.
So I think I would encourage that parents also look at those relationships as they are and not build more than there is to it, you know.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
How do we carry on?
I think that a healthy relationship with the opposite sex also requires drawing boundaries, you know. Drawing boundaries, just like you would even with people of the same sex. Even with people of the same sex, I think there are boundaries. A friend is a friend, but they do not replace you.
Yeah.
Same thing with a person of the opposite sex. I mean, you could share things, but we should leave it at friendship. Incidentally, I have an interesting story about friendship too. When I was in the second year in the university, the person who it turns out was my husband's best friend, we would pray together.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, we were praying together, and we were praying about his future, because for people who were like at that level, I was surprised at the amount of understanding of what he knew his future would be. He definitely wanted to be a minister of the gospel, and he was asking me to pray at that time that God will help him not to lose the focus. And many years back, after he got married, I got married, you know, our families, we're now family friends. Our children are also friends. Okay. So you do that, but this kind of prayer was open prayer, not in a hiding, but we met regularly, and the prayer focus was on him. It wasn't on me, because I didn't even know what God wanted me to do in the future.
Okay, so he recruited you as a prayer partner.
And I prayed for him.
Okay.
And fast forward, do you know God answered those prayers?
Wow.
God answered those prayers. He eventually went to a seminary and helped to interpret the gospel in his language. So God answers those prayers, and I think we should like you said, let's be free to enjoy the relationships God has given us. Sometimes something good comes out of it.
Yeah, something good will always come out of it. This mischief on your face. Okay, so what we're saying now is, you raise the issues of boundaries. We'll get back to that again. But from the story you just told, you've also raised things that people can do with their friends of the opposite sex. And that includes praying together,
Yes.
talking together, seeking advice. And of course, if you're praying together, you also study scripture together.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So it's not, and I think that should go for all our relationships as Christians. Remember I think Paul writing to Timothy says, treat the younger ladies as sisters, the men
the
as
older
brothers,
ladies as mothers,
and of course the boys will be brothers and the men fathers.
And I like what he said, respect everybody.
Great.
He said, respect everybody.
Yeah. So our relationships should be such that would honor God.
They would.
And I know that as you have raised some issues, what people could do together as they relate to one another, both same sex, opposite sex, there shouldn't be a hidden agenda
No.
in prayer. Because I remember when I was in the university, some people would behave like they're mentoring the sisters. The brothers will behave like they're mentoring the sisters. They will engage you in prayer meeting, Bible study. Meanwhile, they're arranging you for, in quote, proposal to marry. And I think
that much time. We didn't have that
people
much
had
time.
hidden agenda for doing the good they were doing. And I didn't think that was right.
No.
Yeah, if you want to help, treat people as sisters, don't have any hidden agenda.
And I think it can come through if we're very discerning that this person's intentions are genuine. I happen to have a lot of stories about the opposites. So in the university, I gave my life to Christ, but I wasn't going to FCS. And one day, an older friend, he was 1 year ahead of us, he saw me praying in the cafeteria, and he was like, who prays in the cafeteria in the open? I said, I do. And then he said, but I don't see you in FCS. And I said, no, I don't attend FCS. I said, maybe you should come sometime. And then he collected my address and then checked to see whether I could come to FCS. So he discovered early that I was an avid reader. So he was like, have you read this John Stott book? Have you read this? And then, I started growing, and he mentored me in a very healthy way. And I remember that we never met alone. I think like if he would come to the hostel, my roommate was there, and he would invite both of us. These are things you do. I mean, do things in groups. Be very transparent and open,
Yeah. So I like that, being very transparent and open. Do things in a group. Do things that will honor God, and I think that group thing is good. It's also a safe place to watch everybody and see what everybody is truly like and what everybody is up to.
And if they misbehave, the group of girls can get aside and really get a good laugh. Say, we were thinking that this person's intentions were like this. He was setting up
plans. Okay, that's very interesting. So let's get back to boundaries. So what kind of boundaries do we set? Yes, the boys are my friends, but what kind of boundaries would we set?
I'm trying to remember. I think number one, what to share and what not to share,
I think that's very important.
I think
but break it down.
If it is a burden that you think this person can pray with you, there are family members who are not yet born again, and you want somebody to be partnering with you and praying about them, that's good. But I think when you begin to share private emotional things,
that's a danger sign.
Then you are inviting people to intrude into the emotional realm, you understand? But I think if it's a good friend, it's okay to share, I'm not having a good day. And they will know enough to pray for you. So I guess it's the details that are important,
So the details will determine what you tell and what you don't tell. What other kind of boundaries should we set?
Physical boundaries, absolutely. Well, You know, I kind of think that this younger generation are too touchy. We weren't that touchy, but we related without wrapping your hand around the person and all of that. I wouldn't know how to draw the boundaries if I were them nowadays, you know. But I see people wrap their arms around people, hold hands. I don't know how safe they feel. But we didn't do a lot of that. But there was a lot of hugging among sisters and all of that. I don't know what the men did, but we did a lot of hugging.
Men shake hands.
But I would be very careful about physical intimacy, especially being alone with a young person. Closed doors.
So try not to be alone. Don't try alone behind closed doors.
Closed doors.
Whatever you do it where everybody can see. And I think sometimes it's not just because of you, but because of the testimony of people around. Because people already have a mindset what happens between males and females behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And there is no convincing. Yeah.
You're not really wiser than the devil. I used to be really fearful about. I still am.
Yeah.
Even at this ripe age, I'm very, very careful about boundaries. You know, between me and the other people. So
these boundaries, of course, are boundaries, things that one should have thought through. You don't wait until the occasion presents itself and start asking yourself whether you should maintain this boundary or not. But you should have thought about it.
Set them ahead.
Yes, set them ahead and say, this is what I would do. I won't be behind closed doors alone with somebody of the opposite sex. I'm not going to discuss emotional issues with somebody of the opposite sex. I may decide that I'm not going to do phone calls or chats beyond a certain time. You know,
very important. You know,
because now that I don't know whether they still do it, but I know that some of the network providers used to give cheaper calls and stuff like that late at night, and young people will keep awake or sleep and wake up late at night to do calls. I don't know whether people still do that, but I don't think it's nice that by 12 midnight.
Can we also digress a bit about this digital age? It looks like it is closing out both work hours and daytime. People are on social media practically 24/7. I think it detracts you from a healthy, growing relationship. Like I undertook a reading program for about a month, and one of our requirements was that no social media. You wake up, you read the 7 to 9 chapters of the Bible, then you can open your social media. And I found out that it was a good discipline to be able to minimize how much hours you were at social media. But I think our people are on social media 24/7, and it's very distracting, very, very distracting.
Yeah. So, well, we've chipped in that one. We should work on our screen time. Yeah, we should work on our screen time, especially social media. Try and balance it out so that it doesn't consume all your time, reduce your productivity, because there are many things you could be doing, you could have done, changing your world, moving yourself ahead, and you spend all your time on social media doing nothing. Because at the end of the day, when you look back and what have I done this last 3 hours, you have nothing to show for it.
Granted, a lot of Bibles are on phones and all of that. So what will you do? Maybe you should turn off the notifications, put it in flight mode, finish your devotional or Bible study, and then turn them back on.
Or you just get a hard copy Bible. This year, my Bible reading plan, I'm using a hard copy Bible, I said, to see, because sometimes when I'm reading my Bible on my phone, things pop in. Sometimes there are no notifications, but I just get distracted. I say, okay, I didn't check a message yesterday. Oh, somebody just, you go there and you kind of get this. So I felt I should just keep my phone away and just, when I'm reading my Bible, I'm reading my Bible, no phone coming in between. I still fail sometimes, but I think it's better, and it's getting better. So we should try and minimize screen time, and then in our relationships to decide when and how much, because sometimes also if you spend too much time just chatting with one person, I think that's also not healthy. That's not healthy.
So I think one of the things that young people can look out for is, what is this person's passion? What does this person talk about a lot? What does he like a lot? It helps you know whether this is somebody that has similar goals like you, and so that you can build one another up, you know. But if you see people whose passion is always making it rich, following a particular artist, and they are so consumed with the person, or sometimes it's not even an artist, sometimes it's that they are consumed with the pastor, the man of God, say this, I'm just
Not
taking,
a balanced
I'm just
view.
taking across what people's passions are, other than what God says and what God's word says and what they think God wants for their lives, you know. That can help you tell whether this is somebody I can develop a healthy relationship with.
Yeah. I think for me, during my youth service, I made a couple of friends, two guys that were my very close friends when we were. And one of the things that I gained from them, prayer. Prayer. Sometimes we would now go with other friends. We would go somewhere and spend the whole day in prayer. The whole day in prayer. Those guys really fired me up.
For this, I wish we could have repeat of those.
Those
days
guys
today.
really fired me up. So we spent, I think we did it like 3 or 4 times during the service year.
Amen.
You know, fast the whole day and just go somewhere and spend the whole day praying about our futures, what we want to do for God.
Can you see what God has done?
And all that. So it was good. We're still in touch. We're not in the same town anymore. They're all scattered around. But still try to keep in touch. And everybody is moving on and still pursuing God. I think 2 of them are pastors now. They are pastors now. So I think those relationships, as you said, when you look at people's passion, people's interests,
And they last.
yeah, they would fire you on also, even in your work. You are challenged, you're like, look at, because sometimes I used to say, look at these small boys, because they were younger than me. Like, look at these small boys, so see how they are praying, and me, I'm here. Or say, okay, let's go. When is the next prayer retreat we're going for? We'll go, and we'll spend the whole day, you know, praying. And it was really a very, very good relationship, because I learned a lot from them, and I want to believe that they learned
So what
from me.
we're even saying now is that, can you see that we can develop relationships with people of the opposite sex by looking at their passion and seeing how their fires ours too, and how our own fervent fire fires them too. So we should encourage one another, but also while doing all of that, we're still keeping our distances and honoring God alongside. And those relationships are good because they last us through life.
Yeah.
I still remember, like you were sharing, I also had but he was my classmate, but a younger person, but just his zeal and fire for the Lord, you know. And now it's 45 years later, but we still see one another and say, thank God. We thank God that he has left us now. And we can look back and say, those relationships paid off, you know.
Yeah, they did. And especially since they are such good relationships, they've all become family friends.
Yes.
So they know our spouses,
our children.
Children, yes.
No, I haven't met their grandchildren yet, but I've met their children. Each one of them.
Oh, nice.
Each one of them.
Nice. So the relationship has done generations.
Yes.
So good. That's the advantage of having good relationship. We'll still touch again on other boundaries because we've talked about like 3 or 4 boundaries. I don't know whether there are some more, but we'll go on break right now. And then when we come back, we'll continue about the boundaries.
Yes.
And then maybe we'll also talk about danger signs to run away from.
Yes.
So viewers, we've been talking about relationships here with Professor Theresa Madu and myself, Amaka Ocheke. We've been talking about how we can relate with people of the opposite sex with no strings attached, learning from one another and being brothers and sisters in Christ. So we will go on break now, and then we'll come back, we'll continue the conversation, and our phone lines will be up so that you could call in and contribute to the conversation, or let's hear any questions that you may have on what we've been talking about. So see you soon as we go on break, and when we get back, we'll see you then.
Make your everyday informative, make your everyday count. Know your world, daily affairs, national and international, with authentic news events as they unfold on Global News and Zuma Nigeria, Monday to Friday at 1 p.m.
Hello viewers, my name is Amaka Ocheke. We anchor the program, The Living Room, right here on Equa TV International.
You are welcome to watch us every Monday.
The Living Room is a very interesting family program where we discuss everything you want to know about family.
Talk about our children's mental health.
Keep watching. Our program is always here, 5:30 every Monday. We want you to ask questions. We want you to phone in and drop topics that you want us to talk about, even on our media handle on Facebook. We're there. So keep watching, keep listening. The Living Room.
The mandate of reaching out to the world with the message of salvation and truth is a zeal that has consumed us. Equa Television International is live 24/7, reaching out to the unreached with undiluted message of hope through its programming.
You can be part of what God is using us to do by praying for Equa TV and supporting Equa TV. Keep watching Equa Television International.
We are a Christian station with the driving force and mandate to reach out to the world with the gospel of salvation and truth through programming and soul-lifting events.
You can join on this mandate. Let's spread the gospel of truth and salvation to the world. Pray for Equa Television. Support Equa Television. Keep watching Equa Television.
Sharing with the world the message of truth to help people come to the saving knowledge of our Lord and King, Jesus Christ, as well as find solace in Him.
From sermon, theology, undiluted biblical principles to Christian music and drama that aims to give hope, peace, strength, happiness, as well as strengthen the faith of those who diligently seek Jesus Christ.
Democracy is the theory that common people know what they want and deserve to get it good and hard. Join me every Friday, 7 p.m. on National Talk for analysis as well as in-depth perspective on issues as they unfold in and around Nigeria, as well as an opportunity to add your voice.
So welcome back, viewers, from our break. We've been right here at the Living Room on Equa Television talking about relationships. We've been talking about relationships between brethren of the opposite sex with no strings attached. We're being brothers and sisters in Christ. And Professor Teresa Madu has been here talking about this topic with myself, Amaka Ocheke, right here. So we've been talking about where we meet this kind of friends. We said in school, in church.
Retreat camps.
Exactly. Sporting events, as you said.
Sporting events, yeah.
Yeah. So we meet them anyway in our neighborhood. Yes, but we've also talked about the kind of things that we do as we relate to people of the opposite sex. Still sporting events, as she said. We've just mentioned we could have prayer things together, Bible studies together, relating as a group, doing school excursions, just different kind of events. And we've also talked about setting boundaries. Yeah, setting boundaries. We can't relate to people of the opposite sex exactly the way we relate with people of our own sex. And we raised the issue that we shouldn't talk about too much about our emotional issues.
Yes.
Could talk about general things, but emotional discussions with many details.
Even
no.
financial needs.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't even know where to draw the lines.
Yeah.
And suppose you met a compassionate young man, and you are talking about your financial needs. They are likely going to sacrifice to give
Meet
you,
your needs.
and then the boundaries begin to blur. Whether you like it or not, they begin to blur.
And so we need to be very careful.
Mm-hmm.
And then not being alone behind closed doors.
No.
Even if nothing happens, your testimony is going to be affected. So,
Absolutely.
and then we can't say we don't care. You don't belong. Yeah, you don't belong to yourself, so you can't say you don't care. You belong to Christ, so you must care about testimonies and what people have to say about people who are followers of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say you don't care. They can think what they like. No, Christians don't do that. We have to care and make sure that we do not give any room.
Yeah, the Bible says don't give the devil even a foot. Not
hold.
even an inch.
Yes. And then I think she also raised the point that some of us, we should also, not just some of all of us, we should also learn to fear the devil.
I will.
Yes, because he has more experience in this thing than us. So don't ever come to a point where you are so comfortable that you think you can do what you like. The devil has been in this business forever. So yeah, so he can set you up big time, and it will be very, very embarrassing.
Big fall.
Yeah, a big fall. So what other boundaries can we do?
These are days of social media. They use a lot of emojis that convey certain things.
Yeah.
I think we should be careful who you send certain kind of emojis to.
And even how you address your friends of the opposite sex. Sometimes you send messages that are not there. All these, what are those kind of things? I love you. You send me a message and you finish with I love you. What does that mean? And then if sometimes when I push you, I say, no, I didn't mean anything, just the love of Christ. Why do you have to say that? Or you call the person my dear, my sweetheart. What's the meaning of that? And then for the brothers, I noticed, or I've had the experience a number of times, they do that, and then suddenly the girl starts having feelings or imagining that something is going on. She now thinks that they are in a romantic relationship. And then suddenly the guy says, I didn't say anything. I didn't ask her. I didn't tell her I was going to marry her. I didn't. But you started all these things. Say, but I didn't say anything. I said,
it can send signals.
Yeah, so we should be careful about the kind of signals that we send to people, about that. Okay, one more area I want us to veer into. Parents. How do parents come into this? Because I know I've heard young people say their parents say, I don't want anybody of the opposite sex coming to look for you in the house. And I find that very surprising.
So when the right person comes, how would you know?
God will do a miracle. As they say, miracle, no, they tire Jesus.
I remember that even though my parents were not educated, my father was educated, my mom wasn't, they knew enough to know that it's not everybody that walks through the house that is a suitor or a prospective husband. Sometimes we had homework and we had to do the homework jointly. Together. So I think parents should give the liberty and give their children the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. And it can pressurize children if you keep saying you don't want to see any boy in the house. They'll go and meet at Mr. Biggs. Oh, there's no more Mr. Biggs. They'll go and meet at Domino's Pizza. They'll go and meet at the places you don't want them to meet. I encourage my girl children to bring the boys home.
Exactly.
That way I was able to tell the non-serious ones and the serious ones. My daughter Jane, she confused me some. Because 10 boys would come to our house and I'm busy, using my lenses and studying studying all of them, and I'm like, who is this a friend? Who is this a friend? Because in Aki, they had to work in groups. And
it's a male-dominated.
And then I found out that they were actually good friends. They strengthened the rigor of the work for her. But none of them was a true friend.
So I think as parents, we should encourage our children to bring all their friends home.
Yes.
Male, female, whatever. Let's see
Who they
the
are.
kind of people our children are hanging out with. And also interface with these people.
And get their phone numbers.
Yes. Because for me, if they come, any young person who comes to my house, I will engage you. We will talk. I want to know more about you, where you're coming from, what you think, how you think, what your values are. By talking and relating with you, I'll find out all that.
And do you know, we get to also pray for those friends. Because I now remember that sometimes my daughter will say, do you know this friend that came? This is what they are going through. Would you pray? If you are a praying mother, your children recruit you to pray for their friends. All the girlfriends, all the boyfriends. When those people are going through tough times, as we imagine that their own parents are also praying for our own children. Yeah.
So we should encourage our children to bring their friends home. Let's see who our children are relating with, so that they don't hide, things from us. And then before we know it, something is happening
and
that we didn't bargain for.
And actually see the people.
But let it be happening under our
and then
eyes.
It's difficult for people to misbehave in your living room.
Yeah, that's another point. So let's get them to come to our houses and let's see who they are, what they are up to, and where they are coming from. So parents, please don't drive them away and say, I don't want to see any boy in this house look for you, or for your boy children, I don't want to see any girl come here look for you. No, let them come.
And
Let's
let me
have the
just also
discussion.
chip in that sometimes parents are judging their children based on what happened in their own lives, and it's not good to take exactly what happened in your own life and imagine that that's what is happening with your children.
And if you are not sure, you are not clear, engage your children. Ask questions, and your children will be able to answer you. Don't assume.
Engage the people, like you said. Engage the young people.
Yeah.
Know their stories. What's their passion? Like I liked the fact that maybe the people who related closely with my children really had a knowledge of the Lord Jesus. And sometimes the children themselves were confused. So I would engage the young man in the presence of the girl and ask faith questions. What do you believe about this? What do you believe about that? Hoping that as they answered, even the person would know that here were red flags. That, like if a person was not able to tell me clearly when they came to faith in the Lord Jesus, that was definitely a red flag.
Yes.
Or if they believe that what their parents did would scale them through, will carry them through, that's another red flag. It means that it is the faith of their fathers, it's not their own faith.
Yeah. So we need to let them bring their friends, but that's just not enough. We also need to engage, interact with them, but don't make it a quizzing session. Like sit down like they're in a witness box and you're the lawyer asking questions, but make it a conversation, and you could befriend them. You could befriend them as you talk. And sometimes some of them, you may even become a mommy to them or a daddy to them. They confide in you. They tell you the challenges they are going through. They come to you for advice and counsel, which, it's a very great place to be.
So Amaka, just that. Do they feel safe to come to your home? I think we should make
Once there's food. Once there's food, they will come.
When there's food, when they come, offer them the hospitality that they are desiring. And food, as they eat food, they loosen up too. I'm not saying bribe them, but generally young people, they are foodies. They like good food for that matter.
Yeah. So be willing to give food. Not when they come, you say, okay, they sit down. You don't offer anything. No, they should.
For example, when we lived way out of town, and some of them were going to go all the way back, it's just good manners to ferry them to a safe place. You would want another parent to reciprocate for your child, yes. So just offer it makes them want to come again and again, especially food. Please give them food.
So let's make food available. Let's treat them the way we would want other people to treat our kids. If our kids are somewhere else, let's do that. That would be good. So viewers, we're still waiting for your calls. we'll put up the number on the screen so that we could call in to make our comments, to make our observations or ask questions as we're going on. We're still talking about relationships, but this time we're talking about how to relate with the opposite sex in the way that God wants us to relate and to make it safe. We've just finished talking about how parents should also make their home a place where young people are willing to come and feel safe and comfortable. And Auntie said food. Make sure you have food available. Young people like food. And once they know there's food, they will come again and again and again and again till maybe you get tired of them. But they would come around if you make food available. So parents, please, let's open our hearts, our hands, our homes to our children's friends so that they can bring anybody they relate with to the house so that you know who your children are hanging out with and the kind of people they are relating with. Okay, lastly, danger signs. Okay, how you relate with somebody of the opposite sex. What are the things you may see that will tell you, I don't think I should continue with this. I think I should run away. This is a problem.
This might be like a repetition, but you know, when we're talking about toxic relationships, one of the things that we say, somebody has outbursts of anger.
Yeah.
It's a big red flag. We all get angry, but there are some people when they get angry,
they're out of control.
They lose it. They say things that they regret. And they may come back and say they are sorry. But if it is what the psychologists call gaslighting, then watch out. Because the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet. And why is it that always this person is always annoyed by someone? Somebody is always doing something that annoys you. Don't you do things that annoy people? Yeah. So I would say that number one, bouts of anger, violent anger, watch out. Number two, is this person very selfish? We're selfish to a certain degree. But I think if you're beginning to see how this person is always me, that's a no-no sign. What about it? And the other thing is also ego. And ego can make you do other things too. You know, I have this, I have done this, my parents are this, I'm that, and that. It's a sign that you are going to be in trouble. So we've mentioned anger. We've also mentioned extreme selfishness, you know. Person doesn't share.
It's all about the person.
Be watchful. He won't take care of you.
And I think controlling people.
Yeah.
People want to control you. They want to tell you what to do, how to do it. And just, you know, I've seen, or they decide that they only let you to be friends with people who they approve of.
So in the spiritual areas, you see the people look down on you. They say that you are not as spiritual as they are. Let them go with their spirituality.
But if you, those who are as spiritual as them.
But if you see somebody who is coming alongside you and encouraging you to run the race and grow, you know that's a good one. But if there's somebody who is pretending that they know better than you, they know all the answers, they
won't
talk.
Even let you put a word, like
be careful.
Nothing you have to say is of worth. So if you
sometimes they want to finish your sentences, and it's not exactly what you wanted. Let's watch out. I think we've gone through these things, but let's repeat them again because they keep happening.
Yeah.
So watch out for people who are extremely angry at the slightest provocation.
They get angry.
They get angry.
Shout. They become violent. They throw things.
And then they regard everybody as an enemy. This person has done this to them. This one has done this. So what have they done to other people? Watch out. Watch out.
And then those who do not respect you.
Absolutely.
Respect is very important.
Absolutely.
They don't respect you. They don't respect what you stand for. They don't respect your family. They don't. No. Those ones cannot be our friends. We should just walk away.
Run. Don't even walk away. Run away from them.
From those ones, yes. So respect is very important. Even the Bible says we should respect us one another.
And yet, these are people who would feel very insulted at the slightest show of disrespect.
But they will do it to other people.
They will do it to other people.
So let's not. I think that's part of the boundaries we should even set for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Never let yourself be disrespected by anybody. Anybody who feels it is right or good to disrespect you, then that person shouldn't be in your circle.
No.
They should just go. You know, they talk down at you. Nothing you do is right. You know, just
they don't even think you are as important.
Yeah, nothing is positive about you. Everything is negative. No matter how hard you try, nothing good.
There's always a correction.
Then
always
you should then they, as you said, talk down at you, talk down about your family, talk down about your parents, talk down about everything that has to do with you. Just walk away. There's no need, as they say. There's no need. This relationship isn't working, so you let it go. Okay, what other red
Boundaries?
flags? Yeah.
I don't know what comes readily to mind. But, okay, if they are too touchy, too physical.
Yeah, too physical. And then you start, the lines begin to get blurred.
And then they make it, they make it look in public like you are theirs, when you are not even anybody's.
Yeah.
So
careful. Like, they barricade you. Put something around you,
so
and mark like you belong to them.
And then
no
you
other person
not.
can be your friend.
You're not.
That's a dangerous place to be. So
they get angry when other people like you.
Yeah. That's the dynamics of that relationship has changed.
Then it starts becoming toxic, because even when you're in an ongoing relationship, you can still relate with many other people without endangering your own particular relationship. So I think that's a red flag.
A red flag to run away from. And of course, though we haven't said that, but I think that's an understanding all of us should have. Your friends should be people who love God.
Absolutely.
People who fear God.
Absolutely.
Please don't go and be... Well, we're not saying you shouldn't talk to people who don't love God or who are not followers of Jesus. If we say that, then we have to walk out of this world.
But I fear a statement that many people make. You ask about it, say, he fears God. What does fears God mean?
No, it's you are born again, and you are following Jesus. You tremble at his word. Whatever will make Jesus unhappy, you don't want to do it. That is a Christian. Not that you mention God. Somebody told me that her friend, he fears God, but he's asking her for sex. And I'm like, how does he fear? He said, if you see him praying here, he's a prayer warrior. I said, no, that's crap.
He doesn't fear God.
He doesn't fear God at all. Anybody who fears God will not do. So viewers, it's time to go. Some people are already on our necks to tell us to leave this place. I will go. But thank you for hanging here with us. We've talked about relating with the opposite sex, danger signs, where we meet people of the opposite sex, what we do with people of the opposite sex, the boundaries that we set with people of the opposite sex, and then danger signs to run away from. The last one we've talked about, when they are becoming too touchy or physical. They're asking for things you shouldn't be doing. Please, please.
Say no and run.
Say no and run away. Whatever relationship you are in, Jesus should always be number one.
Yeah.
Every other relationship should be secondary. And any relationship that contravenes what Jesus will want you to do, is a no-no. You don't go there. You walk away. So thank you very much, Professor Theresa Madu, for being here with us.
My pleasure.
And for having us have a robust discussion on relationship with the opposite sex. And parents, please, let our children bring their friends home. Male, female, whatever. Let them come home so that you can see, assess who your children are hanging out with, pray for them, and you too may even develop a relationship with these kids that come your way. And always make food available for them. Thank you so much for watching. We'll come your way again next time on Family Issues right here in the living room on Equa Television International. God bless you, and let's keep shining for Jesus. Bye.